Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. And today I get to hang out with my friend Holly Fisher, who is a marketing and messaging strategist. And one thing she wants you to know about her is that she actually has a fascination with fitness. Is that the right word? Fascination? I don't
Yeah, that works.
know. Addiction? I don't know. She enjoys those things. But Holly, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Johnny. I appreciate it.
It's so good to finally be doing this. We've been trying to get this set up for a long time. So fitness and health. What's your particular brand of fitness that you enjoy?
Oh, well, so I've been doing CrossFit for 15 years.
CrossFit.
So that is my thing that I got into actually in my like mid 30s with zero athletic background and skill. So that's been a really fun journey for me. And then I've taken into doing a little bit more running this last year, and I'm also trying to get in 50K of races before I turn 50 next year. So it's
Whoa.
actually not as hard as it sounds if you do like 5Ks, 10Ks.
Yeah.
Right, it adds up to 50 pretty quick.
That's a cool goal though.
It's fun. Yeah, it's just been kind
Yeah.
of fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
50,000 at 50,000 before 50. No, I see that. I see
Yeah.
that.
So,
Now for CrossFit, this is actually interesting. So you didn't really have a fitness background. So what was it about CrossFit? Because I would think like CrossFit, I hear is pretty intense. So it could pretty easily drive people away. What happened with you?
the job I had at the time, we had a client that was opening a new CrossFit gym. That was still when they were kind of early. There was only a couple in the community where I lived. And we were going to do some trade, and it was like, come to this class. And I was like, okay. So honestly,
Mm,
ignorance was my
mm-hmm,
saving grace there.
mm-hmm.
Because I actually had no idea what I was getting into.
Yes.
But I found that honestly, I loved it because I am not a team sport person. So please don't ask me to join your volleyball team, your softball. I'm not interested in any of that. Um, so CrossFit's fun because you like work independently, but also with other people. So
Yeah.
that was perfect for me. So
Yes. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So you've got a mixture between the team and the individual performer
yeah,
dynamic
yeah.
happening.
The community is really great. So you have those people around you, but nobody is looking at me going, "Please catch this ball."
Right. Exactly. Okay. So you're not going to let anybody down.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Well, let's get into. So we're going to talk about your superpower. We're going to talk about who you help and how you help them. But let's start with a defining moment in your life. What would you say was a defining moment?
Yeah, there's a lot of those. But I think probably one of the bigger ones was just actually when I was laid off from a journalism job, and that's sort of where I ended up making that shift from working in newspapers, which is what I had wanted to do from the time I was like 12, to going, okay, I'm going to need to find a little bit of a different path forward. And that's how I actually ended up landing in roles doing marketing and public relations and content creation, things like that.
Yeah. So how did the journalistic background translate into marketing for you?
Really well. I mean, I think anytime you have a writing or some sort of communication background, that's going to translate into a whole lot of other, industries and jobs. So, instead of, I take the interview skills, right, that I had as a journalist, the writing, being able to take a lot of information and condense it down into something that people want to read, right?
Yes.
That works whether you're writing a website for a business or an article for the newspaper, right? It's a similar skill set. It's just in a different, just the outcome is different.
Well, that makes sense because in the media space, and you're working for a business publication, yes?
I was working for a business publication at the time. Yeah, I've worked in other, dailies, weeklies, other publications, but I was at a business publication at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so yeah, your goal then in creating content is to build audience, to inform, delight, add value to an audience.
Yeah, and
And
that translates into marketing work as well. And I've done a lot of public relations work over the years as well, which again is really helpful because if you've been on the other side of that, you know what makes a good news story, what's interesting, the kinds of things, how to interact with reporters, that sort of thing.
So what's the difference between PR and marketing? I always see them lumped together, and I don't think I've ever had somebody tell me how they're different.
Oh yeah, great question. They do kind of get lumped together, but public relations is really more is and sometimes that's also called media relations, right? So we're really trying to get more media attention. That's where you might be doing more of your
Oh,
traditional press releases. You're working with journalists to get articles or interviews, maybe with your client. The marketing is really going to be more on your kind of client and consumer, right? Trying to get them to hire you, buy from you, consume your content.
okay. That makes sense. So the marketing is directed towards the consumer. The consumer is the end goal and the means, not the
Mm-hmm.
means, but
Yeah.
it's direct to the consumer. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
PR is going through a media or media-like
Exactly. Yes.
organization
Exactly. Yeah.
to then increase my visibility to that same audience that
100%.
I'm marketing
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. And there's an extra level of credibility when if a journalist is interested in your business or your story, right? And they decide they want to write about that, that just gives you a little extra credibility because hopefully it's something that you haven't had to pay for, right? So it's actually earned, media at that point.
That makes sense. And the point of a press release isn't just to be a press release. The point of a press release is to catch the attention of a writer.
Absolutely, yeah, and we're even kind of in some instances we sort of are moving away from kind of that traditional press release and really trying to go with more targeted outreach to journalists because they're stretched so thin.
Yep.
Media teams are small. Like it's
Yep.
just a different way of doing things these days. So I do a little less of that work, but I've done a lot of that in the past.
And I can see how you'd be very good at that work because you came from media. So,
Right. So you have that sense. You can't just call up a newspaper reporter and go, "Hey, my business is cool. Will you write about it?"
yeah,
Right.
right.
So,
Yeah, yeah. It's not that simple.
no, it's not that simple.
Yeah. Um, so that all makes sense. I think what we're going to move into now, coming from that defining moment, is what's the superpower or the thread that in your journey, every different place that you've gone, what is the part of the job that lights you up, right? Like what is the part that gives you joy? What is the part that creates effectiveness in the world? Do you think you can you articulate that for me?
Yeah, that's tricky, but I think a lot of it is really just sort of seeing how people benefit from the work that I do. So, even as a newspaper reporter, it was really gratifying if you did an article and someone was like, wow, that was really,
Yep.
like, they had a reaction to it. And
Yep.
maybe it wasn't always a good reaction, that
Right.
depends. But they had a reaction, or, I've had people tell me back in the day, right, they would clip the article out of the newspaper, right, and save it. And so that's just that feels really good, like you had that kind of impact.
Yes.
And I think even now in the work that I do, it's similar in that I'm working with businesses to help them also have an impact, right? So if they can have a better website, if they can have a clearer message that allows them to reach more customers or clients with the great work that they're doing, that is also really gratifying to help them succeed. So just kind of having that impact through words, through messages is really meaningful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so the payoff for you is engagement. It sounds like it's
Yeah,
when the people
yeah.
respond.
Absolutely. Yeah, because
Yeah.
ultimately, if I'm working with a business and let's say we're redoing their website or we're doing some email campaigns or something, I mean, we want people to engage with that. We want people to buy or respond or book an appointment with them or, whatever it is that they want people to do. That engagement piece is huge.
Yes. Yeah. And so that has a different name in marketing right now. So we're talking about conversion at that point, right? So
Right.
like
Hmm.
engagement, conversion. I mean, right, like in audience, like when you're if you're a journalist, it's like
Yeah.
audience engagement. That's what you're
Sure.
looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
very similar.
Very similar. Yeah. I work in media in my day job, so that's why we're talking like some old friends about the journalistic
That's
stuff.
right.
Um, so so what's the kind of problem like when somebody comes to you and says, Holly, I have this problem. What are they saying? What's the kind of problem that you look at that problem and you think, oh, I'm gonna knock that out of the park. Give me that problem because I will always fix or address this problem well.
I honestly, it's marketing overwhelm
Yeah.
because most businesses aren't really sure what they should be doing with their marketing. Right? So there's a lot of different directions they can go. It's like, should I be focused on social media? What social media? Is my website? Is it email? Is it SEO? Now is it AI? Like
Yep.
what do I do, right? And
Yep.
things change so quickly, and most people are like, I'm just not really sure what to do, and then they end up wasting time or wasting money on things that really aren't that beneficial. I like coming in and kind of taking that. I can really help them kind of take that big picture look and go, okay, we can do all these things, but let's pick the few things first that are most impactful. We can add more later,
Yes.
but instead of just like doing all the things, let's pick the few things that are really going to be foundational, and they're going to set you up for success so that as you do start to layer on some of those other marketing efforts, they're actually going to be beneficial.
That's huge because I do know, I mean, even as a person, I published a book about a year ago. And what's the journey after you publish a book? It's marketing. It's how do you get the word out? And there's so many options, so many ways to try to do it. And how do you decide, should I have Facebook ads? Should I be on LinkedIn? Should it be organic? Should it be, you know what I mean? Like there's just most people need a guide of some sort.
Yes, yes. And so let's look at that and start to prioritize, what makes sense for your business, for your brand,
Yep.
even for your budget. It's
Yep.
like, great, I don't have a ton of money. So it's like, great, what are the things that are going to have the greatest impact right now and get you moving in the right direction?
So what kind of budgets do you like to work with?
It really depends. I mean, if folks are coming to me, say, looking for websites, emails, things like that. I mean, we're usually starting somewhere in the, $15,000 and up range. Usually I'm working with businesses that have been around for a little bit. They've got a few years in business and they're kind of ready to kind of level up. Right. Or they've been doing a lot of the marketing stuff themselves. And again, they're feeling really overwhelmed, not really sure what to do. And so it's like, okay, great. How can I now get some help essentially, to either take over some tasks or at least, provide some direction.
All right, so that's interesting. So you like companies that are a little more mature, but they're in that inflection point where they've
Hmm.
done it themselves, but now they're experiencing overwhelm.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked with a lot of people that, they kind of started up their business. They did their own website, they've done some of their own stuff. And now it's like, okay, we need to take this to the next level.
Yep.
Where do we go from here?
Yep.
Or we're not really getting much traction on our website. What's the problem? So being able to come in and kind of help diagnose those things and say, okay, here's what's working, here's what's not working. Let's figure out what you need. And then is it me stepping in and doing some of this stuff? Do I need to bring in a couple of other partners to help with things? Figure out what's best for them.
So it sounds like you're bringing the plan, right? So let me step back a little bit. So I have this thing called the alignment funnel. Picture a funnel. It's got three segments: top, middle, bottom. Top is vision, big picture. Middle is direction, which is the plans and the structures and the systems. and the bottom is execution, which is where the feet hit the street and the work actually gets done. You have to have all three layers covered in order for your endeavor to be effective. It sounds like, well, let me ask you, I won't even tell you what it sounds like. Where do you see yourself within that funnel?
Yeah, it's interesting that you asked that because that's actually one of the things that I'm sort of looking at myself for my business is kind of maybe making a few little shifts in that area so that I can really bring people in and start them with a more kind of formalized plan. That's like something that I've kind of always done, but it's just been a little more like less formalized, I guess. And so really kind of starting with that, kind of figuring out, okay, let's take that step back. Let's get that big picture view. Let's figure out what's working, what's not working. What do we need to do? Kind of put that plan together, then move into the execution piece. Is it, oh, I need a new website.
Yep.
I'm not doing any email marketing. Great,
Yep.
let's start that.
Yep.
Then I can help them actually develop those materials
Yes.
that they need. And then kind of the third piece of that would just be sort of then that ongoing maintenance, if you will, right?
Yes.
You need just somebody to help you, kind of a thought partner, somebody to bounce ideas off of. Great. Do you need ongoing, materials created? Then kind of figuring out what that third piece looks like.
Yeah. That's good. So where do you get the most joy on the funnel? Where do you like to be the most?
All parts of it, but I really do love sort of the big picture, the brainstorming,
Okay.
kind of helping people like kind of the idea generation and figuring out like, hey, what's possible here? What can we do?
Yeah. That's good because in everything you've said, it sounds like you're actually quite good at both the direction piece and helping them turn that vision into a plan. Here are the channels you should be using. Here are the channels you shouldn't be using, right? Help somebody navigate that complicated landscape, which is in that middle part.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then you actually can, after you've made that plan, come in and do some of the execute. You can.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'll absolutely work with folks on obviously all of the copywriting and messaging and content creation, and then have access to different people that I can tap for, building the website or
Yep.
graphic design or SEO
Yep.
or, some of those things that aren't my specialty areas, but people I can pull in to assist on projects.
Okay. So so is that what is your typical, like your favorite relationships? What do they look like?
It is really fun to work with people kind of from the beginning. Like if they do need like a whole new website and we're redoing their messaging, because messaging is an area where a lot of people are falling short, right? They're just
Yes.
not talking about their business in a way that people really understand. So it's taking that step back and going, okay, how are we actually even talking about this business before we build a website or we build email campaigns or any of that kind of stuff? We got to roll it back to the messaging. So that part is really fun. It's kind of doing that deep dive into the business and creating the core messaging so that people have that they can continue to use over and over again. So that part is really fun. And then turning that into websites and emails and lead magnets and things like that.
And then ultimately having it work. That's the part that, right?
Absolutely.
That's where the joy comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Having it work. And then, often too, I'm like, okay, let's put all this stuff out there in the world. And then we kind of need to see what happens, right? So then it's kind of like, okay, let's go back and look at this. Are we getting the results that we want? Are people, clicking the button on the website or whatever? Are we getting that engagement? And then if we're not, what do we need to go back and make a few little tweaks?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like, when you took my superpower quest, this makes sense. You took my superpower quest survey a while back, and I don't know if you even remember.
I was trying to remember earlier.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah. Yeah. And you said that your core drive was order.
Yeah.
So there's order, progress, and harmony. You said your core drive was order. So setting things in order. Right? And then you said your hero types were leader and connector. And the leader is also the galvanizer would be another term. That's the 6 types of working genius kind of
Galvanizer for sure. Yes.
galvanizer, right?
Yeah.
Like get the team aligned, and moving in the same direction. And then connector, which is also that's a really cool gift mix that you have. Like the idea, that you can both lead and galvanize people and also connect with people, which is kind of the invitational gift. It's, you know, um, bringing people together, making sure nobody's left out. There's a relational and emotional intelligence with it. I'm a connector, right? So
Mhm.
it's being
Yeah.
able to understand people don't feel like a burden to you, right?
Yeah, I really love the clients that I can build that relationship with.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely the person that, like, we'll get on a call and I'm like, tell me how you are. Let me
Mm-hmm.
check in on your family or your kids or, things like that. Because I do like having that relationship with people so that they feel, kind of cared for. My brand
Yeah.
archetype is caregiver.
Yeah.
So that always kind of fits with, like, let me just kind of step in, kind of take care of your marketing, help you build those relationships. Those are some of my favorite folks to work with.
Right. And I imagine if I phoned those people right now and said, "What's it like working with Holly?" I think what they would tell me is she takes good care of us,
Mm-hmm.
or she
Yeah.
cares about us. You said caregiver, right? Um,
Yes, yes. If you study the brand archetypes, one of those is caregiver, and that's kind of where I tend to land in that.
is
Yes.
that Story Brand? Does that come from Story Brand or no?
That's a totally separate kind of methodology that you can study on. That's sort of it's kind of your brand personality,
Yeah.
essentially, like how you kind of show up as a brand.
Yes.
And so if a lot of, like, you can search up a lot of famous, well-known brands that fall into some of these different 12 archetypes. But mine is a caregiver, which makes sense because, again, that's kind of what I like to do.
It does make sense, and I think also I can see such a value in that in the world. Um, I have a friend actually who's got a. I think I've told you about him. His name is Jacob Fogg. Jake Fogg. And he is a developer. He's basically a chief technology officer level technologist in the media space. And I send people to him a lot because I trust him. He and I work together we're like joined at the hip for like 15 years. So I know him. I love him. I love his family. He's like family to me. He's like a brother to
Hmm.
me.
Yeah,
But I also like really know him and his strengths and his weaknesses. Like I've through over a decade of seeing it.
sure.
And he just cares about he's driven by his care for people. And that's the thing that you just don't find, like especially in a technology provider, that like technology like marketing is a very complex world. Trying to figure out your media tech stack is very difficult and scary,
Hmm.
and the consequences are vast because you could be spending a lot of money on technology on a monthly basis and it doesn't work.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so, but whenever I introduce him to people, he almost, when I introduce him, he ends up getting the business because I'm introducing friends to friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but the reason is from the time he gets on the call, he's just putting his arm around them. That's
Hmm.
it. He's just
Hmm.
like, nah, okay. Yeah, I understand. Asking good questions, low key. Everything's going to be okay. I
Hmm.
got you. We could do this. We could, like it's,
Yeah.
it's so valuable when you have deep contextual knowledge paired with a caregiving spirit.
Yes, yes. I had a client not too long ago that we redid her website, and yeah, she even told me, like, even after we had just our initial conversation, she hadn't even, like, signed an agreement or anything at that point, but she was like, okay, I already feel better. Like, I feel like I can handle this. Like, I came
Yes.
into this process feeling a little, again, kind of overwhelmed with what to do. And she's like, I already feel better after talking to you. I was like, yeah, this is fine. We can handle this.
Yes. Yes.
One of
So
us here has done this many times, so we're good.
th- this is so good. And I think what we're now getting is like, this is the gift that God has placed in you, right? Like,
Yes.
right. Like, and we might even be able to relate this to calling a little bit. And I think we will in a moment. But first I want to say, just to go back to my superhero theme, like it sounds like the villain that you are very good at punching is the overwhelmed villain. the
Yeah.
villain of Overwhelm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's kind of just hunching over your people, and you come in. Can you give me a super punch real quick? No? Yeah, yes. Okay. Yeah. Should punch that Overwhelm.
The CrossFit of
That's the CrossFit. I remember when it was Tai Bo back in the days. But okay, so now let's relate this to calling, right? So it sounds like if your brand archetype is the caregiver, I wonder how much that's an echo of your calling. So can you tell us a little bit about that, about what you feel your calling is, to the degree that you know it? That's a hard question. It's a profound and a deep question. But
Yeah, it's interesting because all of the different like quizzes or like personality or style, right? Things that I take usually take take me back to this sort of like teacher. Um, you know, it's usually like a teaching kind of calling, if you will,
yeah, yeah,
which is interesting.
yeah,
But I actually really enjoy doing like workshops
yeah,
and speaking and presentations and things like
yes,
that, where I do feel like I'm sort of imparting wisdom on folks. So that for me is definitely kind of falls into the calling camp and kind of that like gathering, like
yes,
you said, the galvanizer, right?
yes,
Connecting,
yes,
gathering people. I have always been very like involved in a lot of things, and it was really funny. So we lived for 21 years in Charleston, South Carolina, and then about 4 years ago, in 2021, we relocated to Asheville, North Carolina. And I had been involved in a bunch of things in Charleston over the years, and you know, on this board and president of this thing and all the things. And when we moved here, I told my husband, I was like, I think I'll just kind of fly under the radar for a little bit. Nobody really knows me. I can just kind of, I'll do some, maybe a little networking, but I won't really be in charge of doing a lot of things. I guess that lasted maybe like 5 months.
yeah,
And then it was like, I'm going to start a women's Bible study.
yeah,
And then it was, I'm going to be an ambassador with the Asheville Chamber. Oh, I'm going to be on the board of this, organization and that thing. And so I was like, well, that, yeah, I could not stick to flying under the radar and
no,
not kind of being part of something. So.
yeah. And do you generally find those things life giving when you're a part of them?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do. And I love like, I've done a lot of workshops and things with different businesses, and those days are, I'm tired, of course, by the end of the day, but I get so much joy from things like that where I can really do a lot of like teaching and sharing with folks.
yeah, yeah. And so then the question would be, as we're talking about calling, so that what, right? So you're teaching, you're sharing, you're galvanizing, you're connecting, so that what happens in the world?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's a little bit different depending on the space that I'm in, right? So, for some, it's a little bit different business versus personal, but
Mm-hmm.
probably the overarching theme from all of that would just be so that the people or the organization or whatever space I'm in, right? So that they grow, that they benefit, that they become better professionally, personally, spiritually, like whatever, right? I think that's kind of probably the overarching theme for that.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, you sound like a coach.
Hmm.
Like I've kids in youth sports, and the best coaches are the ones that invest in them and that seem to take like almost full stop. Like, why do you do this? Because I take pleasure in making people flourish, making people grow, helping people thrive. Those are the best coaches. Those are the best teachers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Now I just need to find more people to hire me to do that work.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's
That's always that's the joy, right?
That's a whole other thing. Well, so for anybody listening, now you got a sense for Holly's vibe. If you know anybody,
That's
uh,
right. You need a workshop. Huh,
yeah,
Holly? Yeah.
so you got a client that needs a hug, a marketing hug.
I'm
See
marketing.
that? You need to take that. You
I
need to
think
take that.
I might take that. Okay,
The
I'm gonna write
marketing
that
hug.
down. I'm writing that down when we get off this call, and I'm gonna come. I could come up with a really fun, yeah, something fun with that.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, because it is. I think I can tell that's the effect that you have on
So
people.
good. I love that.
So then, last question. What's your big dream or little goal? Big dream or a little goal or both if you want to tackle both, but it's your choice.
Yeah, that's a really hard one. I think maybe little. I don't really have a great answer for the big dream, but the little goal um, is that I have a little series of kind of like essays and writing snippets that I have kind of been working on off and on over the last chunk of years. And the goal would be to just kind of organize those into something, not necessarily like a book to publish, maybe not, I don't know, but just to kind of have them just for myself, honestly, kind of get that stuff organized into something that makes sense. So
So cool. And would that be more in the personal, emotional, spiritual development space? Is that professional develop? Oh,
it's more personal. Yeah, that would be on
yeah.
the personal side of things. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay, now let's picture that goes as well as it could possibly go, right? What does it look like if it went as well as it could possibly go in your mind?
no, I mean, it could be something to share with a larger audience, that might be beneficial to other people. But first, yeah, first I need to get all of those little files.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of files.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I need, somebody to come in and like help me organize this and
Well,
figure out what's what
you,
here.
AI could probably help you with that and help you
Yeah,
keep the
I probably
verbatim
could.
the
Yes.
verbatim nature of it because you don't want AI coming in and changing your deep,
Right. It doesn't
heartfelt
need to
thoughts.
rewrite it. Just kind of help me like get this figured out
Categorize
into
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
I
But
can
you've
organize
been
it.
so are these like journal entries that you've been writing over the years or?
Kind of. I mean, they're kind of just more like little snippets of either you could call them like a one-off essay or maybe like a book chapters. It's kind of how they're organized, with sort of personal stories. So just trying to figure out how to put those into something that kind of has a flow to it, right, and kind of makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that, and I believe you will do that. I'm just going to speak that out into the world because those treasures, those things are treasures. I believe they're treasures, not having read it, not having looked at it, but I guess it takes me back to my years as I used to teach at an at-risk a school for like at-risk kids, gang kids, like kind of really tough kids that really they couldn't even make it in the alternative school. So this was like a level beneath the alternative
Wow.
school in
Yeah.
terms of kids who nobody was able to access. And I taught poetry.
Wow. Yeah.
And poetry was my favorite thing that I'd ever taught, and the kids loved it. These are high school age kids. Why do they love poetry? Because it was like this is a place where you can tell it like it is. You're not going to be judged. You can just tell it. You can let your heart. That's what I taught them. Poetry was. I taught them that poetry was the place where you can just say what's really happening
That's
from
good.
from your heart. Put your heart on the page. And I didn't put a lot of emphasis on here's the stanza, here are the different
Right.
formulas and
Yeah.
formats and this,
Right.
all that stuff has its place. Like,
Sure.
I love a good haiku, right?
Sometimes you just need to get the words out on
Yeah.
the page, right?
The more important part, and the thing was, it was beautiful. It was broken, and sometimes it was tortured, and it was hard, and it would make you cry. But it was honest, and it was real, and that's what made it beautiful. It was their heart.
That's great.
So when there are artifacts of your unique heart and your unique perspective, they have inherent worth and value. I believe that.
Yeah, that's great.
That is why I hope to speak growth and thriving to that dream or that little goal. You call it a little goal.
I'll go. Yeah,
Little goal, big dream. Who's to say?
that's right.
Yeah.
Big undertaking is more like it. Yeah.
Big undertaking, right? Yeah. And I know that too. That probably is the part where it's like, okay, but it's going to take so much time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it written or is it digital?
It's typed. Yeah, it's
It
typed.
is typed.
Yeah, it's all typed.
Yeah, you might get you might actually it might go faster than you think if you do the right
Honestly,
thing.
I think I need to just take all the stuff I have and possibly just like print it out
Yep.
and get and be able to like look at
See it.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a little bit just it's snippets here, snippets there, and it's just like there may be more there than I actually realized.
So, all right, I'm going to challenge you a little bit because if I guarantee you, the people that are listening to this point are thinking. I'm telling you what they're thinking. They're thinking, I want to read something. I want to read something. What's the build up about? What's this all about? So, if there's anything, any part, any subset of what you've written that feels roadworthy,
All right, I'll share it.
whether it's a paragraph or not, then let's find a way to share it
Okay.
to share it with people.
I need to get into the archives and see what I've got.
Yeah, that's not homework. That's if it works out, then great. And if it works out in 2 months, that's great. If it works out in 48 hours, that's great. Thank you for sharing that tender dream with me and with those who are watching, because I think that's I'm cheering you on,
Thank you.
and I suspect other people are cheering you on as they watch this. So Holly, it's great to spend time with you.
Yeah.
You know, for those of you that don't know, I met Holly within the Mere Christians community. She was my group leader in the Makers group. Just a stellar human. Good person for you to know. LinkedIn, is that a good place for people to connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn. They can find me on my website, fisher-creative.com. They can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Great.
love to connect with folks.
Okay, sounds good. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for up to the end, and we will check you next time. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.